Fausto Pugliese, president of Cyber Trading University.
Most people always focus on the past, where as a professional day trader, we just focus on the future. You can do very well in trading, and you don't have to have a good amount of movement for the stock to go up.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Fausto from Cyber Trading University, and good to see you all. Good to see you, Jeff. Thanks for coming. We have another podcast here for this week, and we're going to talk a little bit about trading as usual, what's going on, especially today. Today's a very, I don't know if you guys heard about it, Jeff. I don't know if you heard about it. Today is election day.
Does that mean it's going to get quiet?
I'm just so happy it's finally here, because this has been going on for like every 4 years. Everybody's like, oh, if your party doesn't get in, they worry about that party. And then for 6 months, we worried about what's the market going to react to it and all this and stuff. So just it's here. Hopefully everybody went out there and voted early, so you could spend time and listen to us, wonderful people. But Jeff, so what's been going on? What you been up to? You're looking great. Would you dye your hair or something?
Yeah, great. Hey, Fausto, did you go vote yet today?
I voted Saturday. Okay. I voted Saturday. Actually, it's the first time I voted early. And it wasn't that bad. I mean, you know what? I guess a lot of the chaos that's going on and stuff like that, I don't know what it is. When I was younger, I mean, I'm 53. I've been voting since I was 18, so it's been almost like 35 years or longer. I never seen it being a problem to vote. It's like, I remember we had these big machines. You had these nice little click thing, click, 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 click. It was pretty cool. And then you learn at the end of the day. Now it's like it takes forever to learn, and the stock market's trying to we're doing great in the market today. I mean, I don't know about you, but like if you've seen, Dow's up about 440 points, S&P's up about 64. I mean, I don't know what's making it like it. If they go on one side versus the other, everyone's trying to take credit from it or whatever it is. But I don't know. Will you tell me? Did you vote?
Yeah. So I'm in Utah, and everybody, like, Utah's taken a very they mail everybody ballots, so everybody gets a mail-in ballot. The only downside of that is you don't get a sticker that says I voted. But you just fill it out, you send it back through the mail. It's very, very, I'd say almost everybody in Utah votes. They vote early, they vote by mail, because you just fill it out. And I like that, because you can go, okay, well, what is this amendment trying to do? Like, and do I like it? And so you can kind of really put some thought into it while you're kind of making a decision. So yeah. I voted weeks ago.
You know what? That makes sense, because you know what? I hate amendments. I don't know about you, but the amendment that they give you is vague. And then when I got my amendment, like when I went to vote, there was really nothing in the back. You're supposed to read on a piece of paper. It's just yes or no. I'm like, right away, I know somebody's trying to scam somebody.
Right. I have a very skeptical view about amendments. Like, what are they trying to do here? Like, who's trying to? Yeah.
I mean, I know what your amendments are, and I don't want to go over my amendments because they're very divisive with certain people. Here, but like, regardless if you like it or not, it's like they make it very, very vague, and it's very short. So it's like, it just, I don't like them. Just don't unless somebody, I know, not in one, but like 10, 20, 30 people have to tell me, what does it mean? And nobody really knows. I say, okay, it's no. It's a no. Yeah. But let's hopefully we'll see what happens. There've been a couple of interesting stocks that have been moving, Jeff, in the market due to this stuff like that. I mean, do you see a lot of activity on the MetaStock side? Like, is a lot of people getting actively trading in it? What's been going on in your end?
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing is sort of scam-based, looking at stocks. It's kind of interesting because, like, the way that I trade personally is like, if the market's kind of moving up, I'll find myself more and more invested, and less in cash. Which cash is a position I learned. So, but yeah, we typically look for stocks that are kind of in a trend, that are in kind of a defined trend. But like, it's kind of hard to say, because MetaStock's such a wide tool. It's hard to kind of generalize. Like, somebody could be using it to look at the level 2 stuff, or they could be using it to find stocks that are performing better in the market, or they might be looking for a specific candlestick pattern, and it does all that kind of stuff. So I can't really talk about the user base in general, because it's like it's like a toolbox. Some people are using hammers and some of them are using screws. So it just depends on kind of what they're looking for, really.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's there are a lot of good tools out there, and I know everyone is, it's trying to find it depending on your style. But that's the question I want to ask you. What are you finding more people, trading on these like your trap platform? Are they more stock traders, swing traders, option traders? Is there one? I mean, they obviously it's all everyone, but
yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you precisely.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we do our demographics, it's really usually pretty consistent. 60% of our traders trade stocks.
Okay. Yes.
40%. Yeah. 60%. Yeah. 40% of those are options on stocks.
Okay.
So that adds up to 100, but you can pick as many as you want, right? So
Right.
the
No
total
futures, no forex or anything like that.
Futures is 8%. Forex is probably, I'm trying to remember that one that's like 20%. It's between.
So we're almost at 140%.
Right, but a lot of, like, how many instruments do you trade? Do you trade stocks?
Right.
Options? Yeah, because it's multiple choice, right?
Right.
ETFs is huge. So I think the total goes up to about like 170%, but I think ETFs is about 30% too. So,
okay.
So there you go. And I'd find that most of our traders, it kind of depends, but like it's all over the place. Generally, I think we cater to people that make a couple trades a month to a couple trades a day. For me, I'm usually holding on to a position for a month, maybe, if it's doing well, unless I'm stopping out on it, right?
You're doing a little bit more of a long-term swing trade, I would call. Not an investing, but there's short-term swing trading, which is like a couple of days, a day, anything overnight.
Yeah,
a little bit longer. Well, listen, it does take a lot of time. I mean, you're running a business too. I mean, like more than that. I mean, you can't be sitting there all day long. I mean, you're always trying to perfect your platforms and stuff like that. You're running, staff and everything like that. But just staff trades also, or just more? Is everybody involved in trading?
In the company?
Yeah.
A good percentage of us are. I wouldn't say like all of us, but I'd say probably, if I had to guess, 70% in some form or another. If you count the really long-term stuff like 401k, it's almost 100 because we really push people to kind of save for their future. And we actually have a very, I think, yeah, we do though. So.
You know what? That's a good idea. You should save for the future, right? Some people.
They'll be like, no, and I actually kind of, one of the things early on, Scott, right? Scott Brown. He's the owner. But one of the things that he did that was very helpful for me was he's like, what you want to do is you want to save. And this was like 30 years ago, right?
Right.
And over time, even if you just save X% a month, future Jeff Gibby is not going to ever regret saving with that interest and stuff like that. And as a result, I took that advice 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, right.
And future Jeff Gibby does not. Yeah. So when we get a new 20-year-old, I'm like, okay, let's get your 401k set up. Yeah, here's what we're gonna do. Let's do it, because that compound is huge, as you know.
But don't you find like some of these kids now, the younger ones, like the Gen Z stuff, they don't care about that. They just want their money now. They think it's not going to be there, and they're just like, they don't, unless you're grown up into it and teaching them. But I don't know, I just find like, unless they have somebody pressured into them, that this is how it is and stuff like that. Because like we run 401ks, we run like profit sharing, in our company stuff. And all they want to do is they want to cash out,
Yeah.
The idea that you're giving them free money, but benefits all of us. But like, I don't understand it. It's like, what are you going to do with it? You can get penalized. Like, well, I'm going to go on vacation, eat money from my friend. I mean, do you find that with them?
Do you feel like that's an age thing though? Because when we were kids, we couldn't see 30 years into the future. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know that that's necessarily a new thing. But I do have definitely people that will come in and be like, I need to do a divestment so that I can buy a car or something. And you're just like, why? Don't do it. And but people are going to make their own decisions for sure.
Well, you know what? I stopped some of my employees from doing it a while ago, and they, like some of them have been with me over 10 years, and they're like,
Yeah.
looking back, they're like, my God, I mean, it was like maybe, I don't know, whatever, 5, 10 grand. Now they're looking at it's like 50, and they're like, wow. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I never even think about it. I'm like, yeah, imagine you had that money at all, and you still, you're still at the company. It's only going to grow, so it does add up down the road. But so everyone, you better be saving your money out there,
Max
So-
those things out. Future you will not regret it.
Don't you feel like, be doing this for a while, right? Don't you feel like we should, like with Social Security, shouldn't they, be like the same thing? Like more or less.
What is your return on Social Security? I think something
Zero.
1%.
It's actually it's a losing proposition.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a pay as you go system. So like there's.
I don't get Social Security. Listen, if I make 100 grand, right? Let's just say, and you put 10,000 comes out. I start when I'm 20. Okay, so I'm putting 10,000 for the next 40 years. That's $400,000, right? Do I get that 400? Yeah. What's that 400? If we did that in our pension at 400,000, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, how much would that be compounded? Like you just mentioned, how much would we have like right now if we did that? What we're doing today, probably about 2-3 million.
Yeah.
Well, we're not.
I like the way Australia does it. Really, what? I think we should adopt the Australian model.
Yeah.
So, what? And in case
how they do that?
So they require that you invest in it's called a super fund over there, but it's basically it's similar to 401k, but it's required. You're required to do a certain percent of your income, and I don't think it's I think it was like up to 20% of your income, and it just goes to a retirement fund. But the retirement fund, you can actually invest in real estate, you can invest it in stocks, you can invest it in the market. You have complete control of your own super fund.
Okay.
But it's required by the government as kind of their Social Security. So
it's a lot better than letting them invest it, because I don't even know where they're putting it.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, it's with Social Security, it's a pay-as-you-go system. So your payment in goes to your grandfather, right? But since we're kind of losing kind of the demographic advantage that we had, that's why it's in trouble. And plus, they keep rating it.
Well, that's my point. That's exactly what I wanted to say. They're rating it. They're using it as their little, little kitty, little piggy bank on the side, and that's one of the reasons why. That's why it's very important, because a lot of people don't pay attention. And as a trader, Jeff, I always look at these things as policies, not personalities. That you got to look at what is the outcome, because they're going to have a big issue, I think, like in the next 5 years or something like that. I know they're not having enough money put into Social Security, but like as a trader, like they were talking about, like maybe like you just mentioned, be able to go invest in the stock market. You could use your fund, give it to you. And that's what they should do. They should say, listen, it's your money, you're invested into it. We're doing exactly what you're doing. We want you to have money for the future. Because when I retire, $1,500 a month ain't going to cut it. I'd rather give, I'd rather get my 400 grand back. I could do a hell of a lot more with that. I could do a hell of a lot more with that.
So when are you retiring, Fausto?
I'm not retiring anytime. I love what I do. Come on. Yeah, I mean, don't you love what you do? I mean, you've been here forever. Sure. I mean, I'm a little disappointed you don't come to the shows anymore. We don't do those because we always had fun with that.
Yeah.
But listen, I don't know. I mean, I know we know so many people in this industry. They're doing it till they're like 70s. Until I lose my brain and I can't think anymore, and I'm losing constantly. Then I'll quit.
Yeah. I think at some point I'll take a more relaxed role. Right. Like I'll still do it because I really, really do enjoy it. But like I may not do it 60 hours a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you're right. When you get a little bit older, probably, I definitely take a relaxed role of not just managing employees and, stuff like that and whatever. It is a big job to do it. But we do because we love it too. We do definitely change a lot of people's lives out of here, and they definitely enjoy it. So that's very cool.
And I don't know, like when I started here at MetaStock, I thought I'd be here about a year, but like it's such a fun, like it's like I'll take a day off and I'll work half the day just because I want to do stuff, right? So like,
Right.
my wife's like, "You're not suited for retirement."
You know what? I kind of like. I'm not. I have to work, but I love hanging out.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love doing cool
for
stuff.
sure.
I mean, you know me. Like we were just talking before in the green room. Yeah, about talking about raising chickens. I mean, like
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody here that's listening in, but I don't know if anyone here has backyard chickens and stuff. I mean, definitely want to hear from you guys. But
Yeah,
like, it's
if
just
you do, mention how many. Don't say yes or no. Just 0 to however many you have.
how
How many
many
do you
you
have right
have.
now?
I had this issue with a fox,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
yeah, and I put it on my Fausto Home Living channel, and but now like I used to let them out. I used to love them. I used to go out with them all the time. I used to take them out, play around, and then I just had to really. Then I built a really nice coop. I said I can't let them out. I enclosed them. They're just a smart son of a bitches, man. Those things. They
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really are. And they're waiting. So I just got all new babies. I got like 12.
Okay.
You know,
That'll keep you fed.
It's a lot of eggs. It's a lot of eggs.
Yeah, that's
But
12 eggs a day.
you know what's great about them? This is what I understand, that people understand. It's part of the ecosystem.
Mhm.
They eat everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's in Norway or Switzerland, one of them. The government actually forced everybody gave everybody 6 chickens because
Mhm.
what they wanted to do is they wanted to um, stop all the garbage. Like maybe I mean, everyone's environmentalist these days, right? So
Mhm.
like, okay, well, how can we get rid of garbage? Let the chickens eat them. That's what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did. So they said they lowered their garbage intake by 30%. Now imagine you able to lower the whole United States garbage by 30%. That's like unbelievable, you know?
They're also great at insect control. I
They
feed
eat
them
all the
anything that
insects.
comes
I
out of the
don't
vegetable
spray
bin.
anymore in my backyard. Yeah, it's another thing. They eat all that stuff. They just gotta be careful. They destroy everything though. You put them
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
Yeah, we keep them out of the garden, but I'll tell you, I'll fertilize the garden with the chicken stuff
Yep.
out of the chicken house, right?
It's
And,
actually the
it
best
goes crazy.
fertilizer, animal fertilizer.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a good fertilizer.
yeah.
But how many do
Okay.
you have?
Oh, I have so we have 5 now. I'm sorry, 4. We lost 2 this year just because 'cause they're getting old. But we also had a problem with raccoons, where they would get in there and they actually would pry the 2x4s off of the cage. So we had
Really?
to, yeah, and they get in there and they'd eat a chicken and would just be like, "What?" So we had to reinforce that thing. We have
Oh
we
my
have we have probably the most well defended chicken house in Fruit Heights, Utah.
Yeah, I learned a lot too. I joined some chicken groups and stuff like that. No different than being in the trading room. Like I tell everybody, like, listen,
Yeah.
you want to be a good chicken, take care, someone to really know about chickens, how to take care of them, you got to be part of a group, a trader, a group of
Mhm.
people that do that. I didn't know this, but like the best thing to keep your chickens clean, you just put beach sand in there. That's it. Just
Oh,
put,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
just put beach sand because then the poop dissolves into the ground. It doesn't smell. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And and they love it. They love it. That's a great thing.
I'll give
Same
it
thing like trading. I tell everybody about trading. Like, listen, if anyone here that's if you want to become a good trader, you gotta you want to surround yourself with a bunch of good people that know how to take care of chickens. You want to know a lot of people know how to take care and learn how to trade. It's
Yeah,
one of the
absolutely.
reasons. Yeah, like anything else. I mean, my dad always taught me. He said this, Jeff. You want to be rich, hang out with rich people. You want to be poor, hang out with poor people. I mean, it's just and like that. It makes obviously like yeah, well, watch what happens. Hang out with troublemakers, and you don't have to be a troublemaker. You end up being a troublemaker. It's guilty
Sure.
upon association.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
They
so
always say don't be the smartest guy in the room, which
that
I've
too.
never had a problem with.
And there's always gonna be somebody richer than you.
Yeah, yeah, for
It's
sure.
always good. Just when you're doing good, and that's okay. You don't want to be the richest person, the smartest person in the room. I totally agree.
I'm curious, like, how you got your start in trading.
How I got started trading. So that's a great question. So so I was a stockbroker. I hated it. I ended up being like, basically, I was just a glorified salesman. I mean, it's all really was, just calling people up, pitching them about stock. But I always learned that there was one area in the room that was this trading department, and they just had they had the job. They came late, meanwhile, we're there like an hour and a half before the market opens. They leave right after the market closes. All they do is trading. I'm like, what's that? What do they do? And it's like, it was a private club. So I had the opportunity to, first of all, I quit my job as a broker, and I said, you know what the hell I need them for? I mean, just do it myself. And it wasn't that easy. And I ended up blowing up my account. And then, fortunately, I was trading with my sister. My sister got a job, as a trader. And she said, listen, why don't you come in here and see what we're doing here? And then my father knew somebody, and I says, all right, well, let me try it. And then I as soon as I sat down with the person and he was showing me what needs to be done, I'm like, my God, like, how could anybody even have a chance of have a shot in trading if you don't have these tools? Just like using like the MetaStock platform. We were just basically just watching the ticker on CNBC. And the big issue that what a lot of people have today, which is like what you're like, just like what you're doing, with a good platform, nobody wants to spend any money. Everybody thinks everything's free. Yeah, everything's free. And then the platform I used to trade on NASDAQ Total View. I had a seat on the exchange. It was like $1,000 a month. Now, 30 years ago, coming with $1,000 a month is like coming up with $3,000 a month today, maybe $4,000. Yeah. Who's going to lay out that money? But the guy's like, listen, you want a 6-figure job? This is what it costs. And never turned back ever since then.
Cool.
But that's how I got started. But then what ended up happening, I ended up becoming a pretty decent trader. And back then you had to split the profits. So I said, you know what, let me just go on my own. So I started one of the first schools in the industry, but because I had to become very good friends with the people who run the firm. They said, listen, Fausto, you're a nice guy, like your dad, your sister, blah, blah. You want to do this on your own? That's great. But unless you're going to open a brokerage firm, which I know you're not going to do, you got to find a group of traders to surround you with. You got to teach them how you trade, everything else. And then I was one of the first ones that started Cyber Trade University. It's the first schools in the industry, and the first trading room in the industry. So here I am talking to you.
What's that?
And here I am talking to you.
Cool. Do you hold positions overnight?
Yeah, actually, I did. I did yesterday. Yesterday, I held the Trump stock, the DJT. That one worked out pretty well. I'll do some swing trades overnight. Rule is you're not supposed to, but the reason why people lose, because it's one of the cardinal rules, is because of they don't want to take a loss. It's got to be done into design. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, when you like you're doing a swing trade, like unless the thing, like if you had a swing trade, the thing took off, you probably take a big profit on it. So you know what? I'm not gonna hold for a month. I'll just take it now. But it's got to be done into design. So, but very rarely. But I do both.
Charles asked in the chat, can I start trading with $5,000? What do you think about that?
Listen, of course you could. Of course you could. You could trade with 5,000. You could trade with 1,000, 2,000. But what do you want to make? I mean, you can't make a lot. You can't focus that you're going to go out there and think this is going to Las Vegas, Charles, and say, I'm going to come up 5,000. I'm going to come home tomorrow with 10. You can only, you got to focus on probably making 100, 200 a day, and then obviously, if you just trade your cash, you don't have to worry about the day trading rule. You got to worry about the PT rule, stuff like that.
Yeah. You have to start somewhere too. So I'd just say, I think that people that have like a limited funds, in my opinion, they feel like they need to double it, or they need to go like all in. Okay, I only have X amount of dollars. Let's go ahead and put them all in XYZ, and then they made the wrong decision, right? And then they're too emotionally invested. They don't know how to take a loss, and they're too invested to actually take the loss. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of fell off. So I do think you can start with 5,000, but I don't think you should. I don't think you should necessarily make that every trade that you do. If you're trading with $5,000, the position size that you're looking at, I think it'd be $1,000, $100, $200, 2 or 3 shares at a time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just saying. Yeah, and you know what, Charles? That's a great question, because I get that all the time. I think the best thing that you need to do, and anyone else here that's looking to start with a small account, definitely listen to a lot of people in the industry, get yourself educated a little bit more that if trading's for you and see what kind of their style is. And then, and then you'll see if you could do it or not, because, some people will be like, no, there's no way you're going to do it on their style. And there's some styles you can do it, but you just got to make sure that someone is going to teach you being very, very, very conservative. Because you want to build that account up. You know what I mean? It also depends. Are you doing this full time? You're doing it part time? Part time is one thing. Full time, no. I mean, you can't do it.
You're not going to make a living that way.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Old traders and bull traders, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. I had a thought, but it escaped me. So anyway, the one thing, actually, I came back. The one thing that I like about trading so much is you don't have to actually use any money. You can say, okay, I'm going to buy here, I'm going to sell here. And you can paper trade it for as long as you want until you feel comfortable. I would recommend you do that. I would also recommend that when you start small and then kind of stage in as you go, because you don't ever have to buy anything, and you should never be betting a farm unless you have a few farms. So my thoughts.
Does the MetaStock platform, does it have like a journal area where you could actually you could see what you're doing, profits and losses, stuff like that?
Not an exact journal, so to speak, but it will keep track of any notes that you make on a chart. So if you're looking to buy something and you just say, I want to buy it, it'll save that automatically until you delete it. And so you can keep a lot of notes like that. It also has the ability to go in and say, well, okay, based on maybe you like the MACD indicator. How does that work on this stock? How does that compare to some of the other indicator-based systems that are in there? What works? I'm looking to trade Apple. What are the stocks that work? Or I'm looking to trade Tesla. And so it does allow you to do a lot of gaming scenarios where you're like evaluating different methods that are out there to see what works for what you're interested in, what the drawdowns are, all that kind of stuff. So we call that testing.
Listen, as long as you're logging it, and you could probably do it, you could do it manually. I mean, we give away, we have like an Excel spreadsheet that's like automated.
I know you do. Yeah.
Yeah. And it works out great. I mean, it's not complicated. You just put a number in there and it just tells you if you're going to the next level or not. So you're consistent, but you got to start small. You have to start small. And I think that's one of the reasons why everybody wants to make money immediately, like make money yesterday. And if you're that type of a person, you're not going to be very successful in this business. I mean, it takes a good, how long do you think it would take, that would you say it would take to kind of really just not be good at it, just to understand it?
Oh, I don't know. Months, years, maybe. I mean, I probably worked here probably a good 5 years before I actually even bought a stock.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny because do you remember the stock Taser? I remember this very, very well. I had a customer that I talked to almost on a daily. I was in sales at the time. And every day he'd call up and say, have you seen Taser? It's going up. You should buy some Taser. And it just kept going on for months. Back then.
What's the symbol on that again? Was it TSAR?
I think it was TSR or TSER.
TSER, yeah.
TSER.
That's one the cops use, and they tase you, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
I remember that stock. That was a fun stock. That was a good day trading stock.
It went up for months and months and months. So finally, the guy's like, "You should buy this stock," and I've seen it going up for months and months and months. And so I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to buy it." And so I bought more than I should have, and it just went straight up all day.
Okay.
And I'm like, and by the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell this because I might as well, right?
Right.
And so I went ahead and sold, and then had a very, very good first trade. The next day, it was a doji.
Oh.
And so and then 2 days later, I'm like, well, I should buy it again. And that doji was the top. Okay. So I gave away everything I made on that first day on the third day. And I was like, well, okay, I should probably take this a little bit more seriously. It's kind of the lesson that I learned there.
You know, it's so funny. Every single person that you've gone through, like you went through, go through the same thing.
Yeah.
They all go the same thing. And they just realize that they buy something like I trained, like sometimes you get beginner's luck, which I think is the worst thing to happen because then you think it's so easy.
Yeah.
And then you, like you did, then they just double down and like, oh, this is great. Like you think it's like fake money until it get to a point where, it's easy to take a profit. It is extremely hard to take a loss. And usually you don't take that loss gets worse and it gets worse. And then it comes to a point where if you're not, hopefully you're lucky enough not to be that day where, it just gets destroyed. Like I saw those, like you see stocks, I wake up next morning, you see the consistency of the day trade and it's going down, it's down, down, down. And next morning it's down like 60%. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we all have that guy that we know that borrowed money from their grandfather, or actually, this is a very specific story, but decided that, I don't know, GLW was great because it was back in the days of fiber optics, and then didn't pan out, and ended up a long-term investor. And then, it just take it easy, Charles, is I think what we're saying.
Yeah.
Because
what was your most scariest, would you say most scary situation that you were in, that you would see that happened, like stock that you were in, like that most memorable moment, you know what I mean, that really freaked you out?
I don't think I don't buy huge positions on anything anymore.
Okay.
Probably the worst trade I did was that taser trade. The second one, not the first one. But after that, kind of some of the things that I kind of picked up along the way was I'm very, very disciplined in terms of how many shares I'm going to buy. Because when you buy shares, actually, I think Vince Vora, Vince, he said it best. He's like, never risk more money than you can afford to lose. And he has very, very specific rules around kind of how much you should lose. My positions, I might have a whole bunch of them, but they're all very, very small. Right. So even if something gaps way down overnight, I might be down a couple $100 and get out of it as fast as I can. But generally speaking, Ken Calhoun called it the shotgun approach to trading, where you have a lot of different irons and they're in a lot of different fires. It's a way to distribute risk. And I really like that kind of idea. So I don't have anything that really blew me up personally. That story about my friend Alex, though, we were telling him for months, sell it. No, like it's just going down. And then he'd be like, oh, it's up a little bit today, though. He ended up just basically, his story, he borrowed $30,000 from his grandfather, put it all in Corning, and just watched Corning just fall apart. I think
Corning?
Corning, GLW, yeah.
Yeah.
It was at an all-time high. It's never been back there. But he's like, well, people are going to be buying fiber optic. Boom, boom. It's a pullback. I'm going to hold it. And we'd be like, no, like get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then what is the mentality that you get? Okay, it's going against you, right? Okay, well, at some point you're like, well, it's a bit of a pullback. This is exactly kind of the thing. Oh, well, I can't afford to take this big of a loss, right? Oh, I'm a long-term holder of this. It's going to eventually turn around. And then I think it was 6 months later that he just basically liquidated his account, sent what was left of it back to his grandfather after he lost like probably 70% of it. So that's probably the most memorable story. Luckily, I don't have a lesson like that, though.
Listen, some of the best lessons you learn are from people's big mistakes too.
Right.
That's another great thing why you're part of a room and you listen to, these war stories, is because, I know that everyone here probably had something, but I can almost guarantee you there was somebody out there, and I could tell you 10 different ones with 10 times worse than yours.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean? And so it won't make you feel too bad as much as it hurt you. But the big thing is, I always tell everyone, Jeff, that losing money is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing if you know why you did it, so you don't do it again. You know what I mean? You're going to lose in trading. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
You just got to know how to control it. Like you said, you got to be disciplined enough. You can't think you're going to go into a stock and you're going to make money on it. You always look at the downside first. You got to protect the downside if it goes against you. If it goes up,
you need to know what it is. You need to have that defined, I think, right? Because so many people are just like, well, it went down a little. Where do you sell it? I think that's a decision you should know in advance, right? So for me,
you gotta have a game plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta have a game plan. You gotta know where those support levels are.
Yeah.
If it breaks that major support, I mean, like we had a stock today we were trading. What was it? PLTR had a really nice move. PLTR.
We were talking
And
about that one today, actually.
yeah, it had earnings. It had earnings. It's actually the biggest percentage gainer.
It gapped up overnight.
Yeah, big time, big time. Really had earnings. It closed yesterday at like 41. It's at 50 right now, 51.
Mhm.
And beat earnings and stuff like that. But anyway, on that stock, it had like a 400,000 share seller out there, hovering, right at 50. And all of a sudden, boom, the guy got done and thing rushed up to 51. You know what I mean? But and 50 is like a mental number. People are like, well, it's $50. It has nothing to do with it. It's all about buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
But if you were short that stock, I mean, and you went all in, you'd have got hurt. But that's why we focus on the right of the chart, which is the orders. But you're gonna lose. It's part of the game.
I've learned a lot from you in terms of kind of how to look at where people are lining up, and I love the strategies that you employ around that.
Well, listen, I live on, like I said, that's how I was trained. I live on Wall Street, so when I was a market maker, listen, you see Goldman Sachs, you see Merrill. I mean, they all have an interest in certain stocks. You just got to know who they are. Now you can't see them anymore, like the old days, but you can see the orders out there. So that's the big difference when it comes to it. But what about success? By the way, we're talking about, I don't want to be negative. What's your biggest winner?
Oh my goodness. I don't know.
It's a trick question. No one knows the big winners, but everybody remembers the big loss.
Yeah. Because I don't like in my own personal trading, my percentages look pretty good if you look at them from a broad perspective. But Reddit lately, I ended up, it gapped up overnight, and then I was holding it at the time simply because it was in an uptrend and gave a signal. Mm-hmm. That's been a recent one was really, really good. But because they're small shares, for me, they're small position sizes, even though I think it's up 50%, it's not a huge amount. Same thing as if it goes down 50%, it wouldn't be, it's like, how am I doing overall? It's kind of the way that
it's your overall portfolio.
Yeah.
So you got like more of a basket of stocks, and you kind of like, listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, it's a percentage of what they all finished up at.
Right. Yeah. And for me, that kind of makes it also helps me maintain discipline because I don't have $10,000 sunk into Reddit. You know what I mean? It's much less than that. Mm-hmm. And so even if Reddit goes back down or hits a stop loss and that kind of stuff, it doesn't. I haven't had any catastrophic events.
Did you own Reddit?
Whereas it would.
Did you own Reddit? That stock did really well.
Yeah, no, I'm holding Reddit now.
I screwed that trade up so bad. I had it on my watch list. Where is it? What is it?
RDDT.
Where is it now?
It looks like, here, I can share this with you.
Yeah, go ahead. Show it on your platform. Let's see.
This is, oh, yeah. I did think of a good stock story. So let me do this. Here's Reddit.
Well, Reddit's doing phenomenal
today.
It's
having a great day, yeah. Let's see.
What at 120? I had that stock on my radar, right? And I love Reddit, and it just went public, and it was at March, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, and it went up. It was hovering around 70, and I had on my radar. I wanted to buy somewhere around. Once it broke through 70, I was definitely interested. When it broke all-time highs, that's what.
Yeah.
And it was like 60, 70. I took it off my watch list, and then all of a sudden, I heard it came out earnings. It blew out earnings. I heard the stock's at 110. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I screwed that up. Meanwhile, it's doing great. It's almost, it came back down a little bit, but nice push today. It's up about $11.
Yeah. I have to blame this one on a Maverick, which is a guy that we kind of do some trading with. He was kind of talking about it, and it's the reason that I bought it, or he's the reason that he brought it. I think I bought it right here, just because it looked like it was going to kind of come down. It was going to test resistance, and I had no idea it would gap. But probably the best trade I ever had was not GME.
Yeah.
But it was during the time GME was happening, and I was picking up a lot of. So GME happened right after Corona, right?
Well, if everybody knows, GME is GameStop.
Right. And GameStop, if you don't know, I still need to watch that movie. I think we talked about that movie last time. And
You didn't watch it yet? You didn't
No.
watch?
I wish I had more time for TV, actually. But I do want to watch that. What is it called again?
GameStop? No, that's called GameStop.
Anyway, I can find it.
We'll find it.
So GME obviously went through the roof, but I was buying a lot of stocks that had got beaten up and were showing bottoms because of the coronavirus. And one of the stocks I had in my portfolio was AMC. And I had quite a number of shares, and it went meme. Just not that I was smart about it. I actually remember logging into my account, and I was like, "Dumb Money" is the name of it. Thank you.
Yeah, Dumb Money. Thank you.
I remember logging into my account, and I'm like, something's wrong. Like overnight, it is just kind of. I can't remember how much it was, but it was.
It was Dumb Money.
Yeah, it was totally
Dumb Money.
Dumb Money was the name of the show. But that was probably the best trade I've ever had, was that particular AMC stock. And I remember my buddy came over, and he owned the stock at the same day. And so we were talking about it, and I'm like, I don't think this is sustainable, how much this has gone up so fast. In fact, I closed my position at the close today. And he's like, no. I'm gonna keep buying it. It's gonna go up. And obviously we all know how GME, GameStop, there's definitely been a lot of trading opportunities, but it didn't sustain that fire, right? Neither did AMC at that time. So in any case, I did remember the best trade I've ever had.
Yeah, it had a reverse stock split. So back in 2020, it was like at $1, let's say, with all because I did a reverse stock split. Yeah. I don't know if yours doesn't show it, shows it, but where'd it go up? Shot up to what, 120?
Yeah.
So if you figure,
yeah. Here, let me just zoom in on this a little bit. And you can kind of see how it kind of tapered off real quick. But unadjusted, these are adjusted numbers.
Yeah, those are adjusted numbers.
Probably about, yeah. So these would be backwards adjusted.
It went to like 800,000 or some crap.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like $30 and just but I always tell everybody, Jeff, it's really good to watch movies like that because you kind of learn a little bit you learn about manipulation, you learn about discipline.
One of my favorite trading movies was The Big Short.
That's exactly. I was going to say that. That's what it is. I tell everybody, you got to watch like 3 times though. To kind of get it. The first time you can't fit because it moves so fast. There's too many stories going on.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my biggest trades I ever had. Was back then. I made a killing on Bear Stearns. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget that thing was like somebody came out there and that stock was at like 120 and went down to like $1. And everybody's like, the building on Madison Avenue is worth, if you sell it off, it's worth about over $2 billion. It brings the stock value over $10, and boom, I just went all in on that one, which I rarely ever do. Right. And then the insurance companies I did pretty well on too. I killed it on those, but I'm not a type of trader that like trades big lots. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think that's why you're an old trader.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm still here probably too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're just one trade away of just blowing up your account. You know what I mean? So, but that's where that comes in. But that was pretty good. Yeah, GameStop was I can't believe you made all that money on that stock and you never watched the movie.
No. I wish I would have bought GameStop too. It should have come up on the scan I was running because everything was kind of just turning around. Things were getting a little bit more bullish. And I was just kind of just picking up long-term position after long-term position with the feeling that we weren't going to see the end of civilization.
Well, funny thing is, on your platform too, you got a great scanner on there. It does have a good percentage gainers and losers. And so GameStop started showing up back in May. And I actually did a couple of good Instagram. I don't know if anybody follows me on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. I did a couple of really, really good videos on it. And they actually one actually went viral. And we had something called like a Fausto flag that was happening in May. And we were watching the stock from $10 and it went to like 12 and 17. So I made a lot of money on that stock too. And we sold around 17. I'm like, this is GameStop. I'm not playing with this thing. And then Roaring Kitties, the guys behind the whole thing. And the damn thing was up to like $60. And I'm like effing pissed, right? I'm like, I still did well,
Right.
I ended up buying it at like 38.
Yeah.
And I ended up selling it at like 42, after it hit like 60 because it started crashing and came all the way back down to like 18 again. I'm like, man, thank God I got out of it. But it's a short squeeze. The big thing that you learn from that stock, I try to tell everyone here, is that you kind of learn GameStop is one of several. They do it all the time with these short squeeze. We see stocks make runs like this all the time. It was just a good story behind it. I think there's one today, actually, it's doing it. Yeah, this one right here is doing it. This is short squeeze. It's going on right now. ZCAR, ZCAR. Bring it up.
Okay, let me get a little closer.
You need an intraday. No, put the intraday.
What time frame you want?
What
time frame? Hourly?
Put 1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay.
Put a 1 minute chart.
Okay, let me clean this chart up a little bit. Detach. Okay. There's your 1 minute.
Yeah, this is a short squeeze. Stock's up right now 178%. It was up a lot more. Started this morning at 4, ran to 13. It did a reverse stock split. It was at 12 cents. And opened up at like 6 about 2 weeks ago. And it's been on a big tear right now. That's a short squeeze. This is like this is similar to like GameStop.
Cool. That's a pretty good rise.
Yeah, it is. I mean, stock that was in it, we were trading it in our trading room, started making a move. The good move was right around 11:30, 11 o'clock. When it finally broke some resistance levels around $8, that one did pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a few of them out there. ABLT was another nice one that was it's doing a little bit today, but back in June, this one ran from 4 to 21 in one day. That was a short squeeze.
Not sure I have the right symbol for that one.
ABLT. No, you got it.
Oh, okay.
You got it. If you look at the long-term chart, though, put like a daily chart and go 1 year.
Okay. Are we getting closer?
June.
This is June. Okay.
June of this year.
I can't find it.
Yeah, you're going way back.
Yeah. Here,
just gotta go 1 year daily chart. One day bar. Yeah, you see that big spike right there?
Yeah.
That was a short squeeze.
Okay.
So
do you see your are you looking at what would bring this on your attention?
If this shows up like today, it's trading about 32 million shares.
Okay.
ABLT. And it's on the big percentage gainers and losers.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's basically is the second biggest percentage gainer right now on the NASDAQ. So that's basically looking at.
That's an easy thing to look at.
Yeah.
Okay.
It helps. So so Jeff, tell me a little about the MetaStock platform. I mean,
okay, sure.
Can anybody get any? Could we get it for free?
You can do a trial.
You do it. Go. How do I get that trial? Give me that trial.
MetaStock.com/CTU.
There we go. Let's put that in there for you.
I'll tell you a couple of things about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been doing it. So did you know? So every year, Stocks and Commodities magazine, they will rate the best software programs out there. and it's not Stocks and Commodities rating it, it's the readers of Stocks and Commodities. So you can't just put a lot of ads in Stocks and Commodities, which we do to get it. But for 31 years in a row, it's been rated the #1 software program for technical analysis by the readers of Stocks and Commodities magazine. So we're proud of that. One of the things that I like to do, I like to scan. So, and there's a lot of things that we can scan for. I still think we need to create some of your Fausto flags as scans in MetaStock. That's something that's still on the list.
Yeah, we have to put Fausto flags on there.
But like, for example, let me just kind of show you a scan I ran a little bit earlier. So there's a number of things it can do. It can test trading ideas. We talked a little bit about that, help you understand what's right or what works well in the marketplace. There's over 300 different methodologies in there. It can do charting. It can give you alerts. It can give you pop-up alerts. It can help you understand a methodology. But the thing that I still use it for every single day is, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, thank you, is scanning. I like to go through a lot of stocks and just focus on the ones that have a good opportunity. So let me show you a scan that I run on a daily basis. This is called this is a product that we actually wrote with Steve Bigelow, who was a good mentor of mine. He passed away last November, but it finds his patterns that he considers the top ranked candlestick patterns. And so I'm just going to run a scan. The way I've got my scan set up, it's going to run a scan against the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Dow 100. But you can do whatever markets you want. I'm going to do those 500 stocks because it's going to run really fast, even though we're sharing a screen and I'm talking and Fausto's talking. It's going to be able to go and show us a list really quick. This is just basically going to go through 500 stocks. It's going to eliminate 97% of the stocks. And it's going to allow me to kind of focus on some of the ones that I like. So one of the stocks that I'm actually looking at right now is, we just ran this scan just a minute ago, right before this actually, is T-Mobile, and it's got a pattern that Steve called the Doji best friend. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And I'm mostly because I'm kind of just taking a look at it. So a couple things that I like about this stock. When Steve would always talk about the Doji best friend, Doji is an indecisive bar. When it gaps up, that's the pattern that he'd call a Doji best friend. So, and he'd always talk about not wanting to trade the indecision. You want to trade moves when they're decisive. We don't want to buy stocks when they're going down. We want to buy stocks when they're going up, right? So right here, you've got that Doji best friend pattern. This might be something that I pick up later, but there's several things that I like about it. It's been in a nice pronounced uptrend. It's kind of come up, it's tested a high, it's come down and settled on the moving averages. And now it looks like right here, this looks like it might be like a rounded bottom or a fry pan type of a pattern. And so I've got an eye on this one. But the reason I've got an eye on this one is because I just ran a scan and it came up in a list of stocks that are of interest to me. So that's how I, even after being in the market, because MetaStock does such a good job, like I could go in and I've explained what a Doji best friend is, but there's a commentary that'll explain what that is for you as well. But it'll explain MACD, it'll explain RSI, it explains it in simple English. It does a really, really good job of helping you understand what technical indicators do, what patterns are, that kind of stuff in a plain English way, helps you scan for them and find them. I would not be able to trade without MetaStock the way that I trade because I like to scan. I do work a lot for MetaStock. I like to scan the markets and just focus on the 10 or 20 stocks that are of interest, decide on my favorite. And I was showing scanning in a webinar one time, and somebody said it's like taking out the trash. What I want to do is I want to get rid of all the stuff that doesn't have an opportunity and focus on those stocks that have an opportunity. And for me, as somebody that's been trading for like, well, I've been working for MetaStock for almost 30 years now, 27, 26, something like that. But I want to be able to just focus on stocks that are moving. And I if I can do that, it really shortcuts my process. So yeah, and you can get a free trial. It's been rated #1 for 30 years straight. metastock.com/CTU.
Yep, there we go. There we go. All right, so we post a link up there if anybody needs it. if you're watching recording and watching on a podcast, just feel free to click on that link and get a demo. But all right, Jeff, any last minute words? Any wisdom?
Yeah.
Words of wisdom?
If you haven't yet, go vote. This election is more statistically tied than any election I've ever seen. So you should make your voice heard, regardless of who that's for. And then tomorrow, hopefully, it gets a lot more quieter.
It's weird because I don't know if I ever remember the Dow up this much on an election day. We're up about almost 360 points. S&P. I mean, we hit some major support levels here on the Dow and the S&P, but yeah, everything looks pretty. I don't know why anybody would be doing anything. You know what I mean? Like I personally told my traders, don't do anything. When you see something like this, because unless they kind of have a ballpark who they think is going to win, you know what I mean? And the certain stocks and policies, or whatever. But I never seen a market go up like this on
an election day.
On an election day, because once whoever's in there who's going to get elected, things are going to change. Certain policies are going to change for certain companies, going to benefit certain people, and it's not going to benefit the others. So
for sure,
that works out.
I think. Do you feel like it matters to the market? Like, no, certain stocks will be winners or losers, but do you generally? So generally, if you look into, generally, would you say you're optimistic about the rest of the year? Do you think we'll continue a bullish run?
You know what? I try not to get involved and get caught up in that whole thing.
Because it kind of gets you stuck in a mindset, right?
Well, you know what? I'm a trader. Every day is a new adventure. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be an opportunity, and that's the big thing that that this is only one thing. You got to remember, companies are coming out with new drugs. So that's going to make the stock move. Companies are going to get bought out. Some people are going to, COVID could happen. Anything can happen. This is just one thing, and it might certain companies, certain policies. I mean, when Biden did get elected, I mean, it did cause a lot of the solar stocks and car stocks, but we saw what happened with those stocks. Now after 4 years, some of them got destroyed. They're not even existent. Revlon or Lucent. I mean, I can go on and on. Workhorse.
I'm just laughing at Lynn's comment right now.
What's that?
I'm laughing at Lynn's comment. Right now.
Yeah.
So the lesson of the podcast, guys, go vote and then get some chicken.
And get some chickens. And then we need some therapy. Go outside and you're gonna get that. You could enjoy with them.
And try out MetaStock.
That's it. And try MetaStock. There you go.
Try CTU if you haven't heard of it. So there you go.
All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Cyber Traders, and we'll be back next week, same time. And feel free to share it, like us, and make sure you ring the bell so you can get the alerts. We'll be back here at 2:30. Jeff, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. All right, let's see you next week. Got the event next week, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. Well, make sure everybody subscribe to that. Got a lot of great speakers coming. Looking forward to be there too.
Yeah, it's Monday through Saturday. It's going to be huge.
Monday through Saturday?
Yeah. metastock.com/traders-conference. If you want to find out more about that event. But we have Fausto coming.
Yep, I'll be one of them. one of 800.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Fausto. I appreciate you having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming, everyone. And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you